Right, we're now shifting our focus to the three-day global meet that's underway as far as the Global Investor Summit 2025 is concerned. Let's listen into what's happening.
Natural intelligence may cause the deterioration of the natural emotions, natural intelligence. Where should be the boundaries? Where we should the demarcation line that over-dependency should be prohibited on the AI?
Okay,
what do you think?
So let me see if I understood your question. You're asking sort of how far should AI be allowed to go?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think the question is probably more right now about what AI is capable of. I mean, I think the concept of artificial general intelligence, you know, the AI we're using now, the generative AI, is not taking us to artificial general intelligence, right? There's nothing about these mathematical models that are truly intelligent, and in fact, they're probabilistic. So I think the risk is of the perception that AI is real, right? You see people interacting with AI and thinking this chatbot somehow is real, and you hear horrible stories about people getting emotionally tied to these models. So I think there's an interesting discussion about whether governments, speaking of governments cooperating, should be trying to intervene and try and put some controls on those models. I don't know how you would, but certainly we need some education for people when they're interacting with models, that these are not human. They are not actually displaying emotions. This is not your best friend, your life partner. This is a model. Because it has no thoughts or emotions of its own, and any perception is just false.
But I mean, some fears are much more apocalyptic than that, aren't they? And which you hear less of nowadays, the idea that AI will take over the world and destroy us because we're a waste of space.
Well, I mean, you know, we talked about the singularity, right? And all these books about the singularity. There might be an AI out there that someday could get there, but what we're using now is not, there's no intelligence there. It's not going to suddenly become sentient. I mean, you see it evolving and learning from its inputs, but it's simply gathering data and operating a mathematical model. So I think we're far away from the Terminator at this point.
They give a pretty good impression of intelligence, don't they?
They do, and that's the problem, right, is that people interact with these models and they feel real.
Yeah.
They're not going to take over the world, but they can they can cause people to do things that are bad.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
Please.
What kind of governance models the countries must adopt in the cryptocurrency era? Because so many countries declared it as a legal tender, some countries coming forward, and every country started launching their own central bank digital currency. Under such circumstances, what kind of governance model should be adopted by the reserve banks or the governments? Thank you.
Oh, cryptocurrency, fun. So, you know, I think for the most part, cryptocurrency has been a solution looking for a problem, and a way for the bad guys to do business off the grid. There are a few occasions, I think, where cryptocurrency has added value, right? Countries that don't have stable currencies have been able to get some value out of cryptocurrency. So, you know, if I were a central banker, I would not be very interested in cryptocurrency. I think that would be more of an enforcement issue. But we're getting a little out of my core area. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Simon.
I'm with you, Anne. I'm deeply skeptical.
Yep, me too.
Countries used to control the monetary policy. Now the cryptocurrency has changed that dictum. Then how to cope with that? That's what I'm expecting as answer.
I don't think we're at the point where monetary policy is going to be dictated by cryptocurrency in most of the world. I just think that, you know, the Federal Reserve of the U.S., which is still the nation's reserve bank, is not going to suddenly engage in cryptocurrency trading or use that as part of its monetary policy. But we shall see, because, you know, there's a lot of influence from someone in the U.S. government right now who thinks Dogecoin is really cool. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the development of central bank digital currencies is quite exciting in lots of ways, but it will have to become part of overall monetary policy, you're right. And it will require an entirely new sort of monetary policy, where just setting the basic interest rate is going to be far from enough. And I don't think anybody is quite clear how that is going to be worked or how it's going to be regulated. And of course, at the moment, we have a new administration in the United States that is all for deregulating the whole thing, basically.